The Visualcast is a hybrid podcast where we sit down with some of the best, most interesting, and most exciting visual artists from all over the world. We chat about life, art, visuals, software, hardware, systems, crystals, alien downloads, spirituality, and catalysts. It's essentially a massive nerd out. But the guests also do a set where we dive into their computer and get an up-and-close look at how they make art, how they perform art, or really anything they want to share with us. I really hope you guys enjoy this episode. To support us, please like and subscribe, follow us on Instagram, and leave us a review on Spotify. Now, without any further ado, here's the Visualcast.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride.
Exceptionally interesting and freaky guys. I would call them visionaries. I would call them, groundbreaking, on the forefront of technology, innovators. And they're also really strange and freaky dudes. Welcome to the podcast, Federico Pimpao and Miguel Martino, aka Error43.
Hi, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing great.
How's life?
Life's nice. How's your life? You look like you're in a nice
It's hot here.
It's hot, huh?
Yeah, it's really hot.
No, we have like actually it's not that hot.
It's kind of hot.
Yeah, it's warmer than I don't know, Russia. Yeah. For Portugal, it's kind of cold, you know.
Well, obviously I have a lot of questions about the different your existence and what it means for our world. Okay, so I like to start off with a scripted question, and then we can get into more of a conversation. Federico, Pimpao, Miguel, my dismembered digital freaky friends. You guys have been on the forefront of the intersection of technology and biology for a while. Your museum installations are so unique and thought-provoking, creating a powerful connection and symbiotic experience for the guests, bringing AI, mechanical and organic organisms into question. Your visuals and projection mapping capabilities are top-notch, and the shows you have done with Datagramma in Europe and the US are spectacular and awe-inspiring. So to start things off, and you can each answer individually, what is your favorite robot from pop culture and why?
That's a tough question. I'd say I like the Sentinel from the Matrix, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the Sentinel is kind of like cool. But I would say not because like the robot is like the most awesome robot I've ever seen, even though it's quite cool for the moment. It was 99, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Because like the Matrix was mind blowing, like first time.
Just in general.
Like we were 11 years old when it came out, so and then the whole story, the Sentinels, like was awesome. But I don't know if it's the favorite. No, it's just the first one the first that popped on my mind.
Okay, fair enough. And Pimpao?
I think I will stick with the same answer.
Okay, we're off to a great start. Okay, so yeah, I mean, usually I like to go to like the the beginnings of kind of where you guys kind of grew up and where you're from. But I think before that, we should address the maybe the elephant in the room of your avatars. Well, I don't want to offend you by saying avatar. I know this is who you are and how you guys like to express yourselves. I don't want to offend you because everybody has their own way of being. But can you just give us a quick explanation of what we're seeing here, without giving away anything, just a little bit?
I mean, we are seeing like this avatar is called Mercedes, and we developed it with Metahuman for Unreal, of course. We are inside Unreal right now, Unreal Engine, and we just messed with it. We had fun, Like first, we wanted to explore a bit of this new Metahuman technology when it came out, and kind of became our image, like our creation, And we're just showing off because we believe that we are what we do and not like our physical shapes,
Totally. Yeah, I mean, you're really embodying your art right now, which is pretty cool. And besides for being very technologically advanced and like a very big showcase of what you guys are capable of doing, I think what you just said is it's so obviously not beautiful is not the right word maybe necessarily, but it's very beautiful because you're you're embodying your art in a really cool way, and I really appreciate that. So okay.
Yeah, but our body is improving right now.
Yeah.
We are losing our human body.
Yeah.
And some stuff are growing from some places.
Yeah, that's the whole journey.
Yeah.
Like I said that we created this avatar messing with Metahuman, but in reality we are like evolving from that, and just like all these new tools are coming out with these AI tools and everything, and it's kind of shaping our way of seeing the things we do, really.
Yeah, I mean, we're living in a time where it's not crazy to think that we could have human machine interface, right? Like more than what's available right now, like actual Neuralink or things along those lines, or like biomechanical arms and nanobots and things like this. I mean, it's like it is pretty crazy to think where we'll be in like 10-15 years. This technology is now like kind of like a not a gimmick because it is powerful, but it's like it's so baby, it's like a baby. Like, yeah, we get this, like the fact that you're talking to me with like a photorealistic 3D rendered like person. If you would have said that like 5 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, sure, okay, sure, guy, right. But you're doing it on like your home PC. You didn't like go to 4 years of computer science to figure it out, and it's running like smooth and in real time. So it's just like crazy to think that like it's a gimmick, but like the actual thing that it is so advanced. It's very I think we're almost like blinded by, especially us, because we use these tools all the time. We're kind of blinded by how crazy and impressive the technology actually is.
Yeah, and the possibilities, and what I find funny, is like through history we have like had lots of new paradigm shifts, right? And every time it happens, people oppose to it, right? And now, and we know history, we know it happened, and we kind of criticize these guys who oppose to it. But now that this new paradigm shift is coming, like we keep opposing it. So it's kind of like human nature or something to oppose things that are new.
For sure.
We believe that since history teaches us that opposing will lead us nowhere, like we are totally pro embracing it and seeing how can we use it to become like better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that. I mean, you're totally right. Like, you know, the horse, the automobile comes out, and people are like, well, it's dangerous, and you know, we like to use our horses, and people are against it. And then, you know, okay, computers come. No, you know, we don't want computers. We want to have analog, whatever. And then people are opposed to it. But like you said, like if you embrace the technology early, then you have a chance to influence it to be good instead of being bad, right? Or used for evil. Like, obviously, cars can be, you can look at cars and be like, oh, well, they made tanks and tanks kill people or whatever, you know, a million and one examples. Cars kill people more than horses and carriages, right? But it's like, if you embrace the car from the beginning and you build a seatbelt or you build, you know, safety things into the car, then maybe it's going to be safer. So I think the same could be said for like the technologies that we have today. I think the biggest problem, though, the difference, tell me if you agree, is that like it's so much more rapid than it used to be. Like if you think about a car is a good example, because a car was like they invented cars and then it took like a good almost like 40 maybe more years for it to become like a normal thing, right? And like now we have like AI. Okay, AI is a buzzword. Like we've been using, you know, AI and machine learning techniques for a long time, but like the advent of AI being available to the public, it's in such a short amount of time and it's rapidly getting better and better. It's, you know, there is a danger in some way, you know?
Yeah, but I think it's because of the nature of AI. Because when we were building cars, like we were actually doing it, you know,
Right.
like humans were building the cars.
Right, right.
And even though humans, of course, are the ones behind the AI and are kind of like developing it, the power of the calculation that these AI systems can calculate things that we will take like weeks. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so fast and it develops like in a way that it becomes stable really really fast. You know. I think that a human by like alone would not be able to make these changes as fast. Only with the help of these things. So I guess like this fast pace is something that we should get used to because
right, it's here to stay. Yeah. It's almost like you said, like it's like the advent of AI in itself is what causes things to go faster in itself, and that's probably going to stay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, I'm not opposed to AI. I don't think that it's really this kind of AGI, and we could talk about it at the end because I want to definitely get into like more specifics. But for me, it's like a great tool, like just being able to code and learning how to code while I'm doing it, and it not taking me like, you know, 4-year degree to get to the level of like being able to do stuff is super powerful. You know,
that's definitely awesome.
I don't think I would have ever gotten to that point of being able to like write scripts. Maybe throughout time I would have, but not as fast, not as easy, not like by myself. You know, I would have to go do a course or being mentored or something. And having the interface, like to be able to be like, hey, I'm getting this error, why? And then getting a response and then being able to test it so rapidly, so fast, you learn. You learn how to code through that. You know, it's very, very special. Let's go to, you know, little Pimpao and little Miguel. When you guys were in the exoskeleton in the pods and born into the machine interface. I don't know. So you grew up in Portugal. You guys are both from Portugal. You're both Portuguese bred and born and bred. And you guys studied architecture as kind of your introduction into the world of creative output. So yeah, please just tell me, each one of you, as you go. And Pimpao, don't say that you have the same story as Miguel. You know, where you guys?
Not the same person.
No, not yet. I'm sure one day you will plug yourselves into each other, but not yet. You could plug yourselves into each other. Have you guys ever tried docking?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, growing up in Portugal and kind of going to study architecture, what was the catalyst for architecture? Why do you choose to go study that? And tell us a little bit about growing up in Portugal.
Well, we grew up in Portugal. Like, remember that internet came here like when we were 12. So till 12 we were kind of isolated, right? In a way, just watching movies and series, but still not getting much information about the world. It was not like today. So it was definitely different from what we're experiencing now. It was more like mundane things, you know,
Yeah.
in a country that just like before Portugal till 75 was a closed country. We had no influence whatsoever from the world outside. We didn't even have Coca-Cola, you know.
Really?
Yeah, not that we were not alive back then, but still, we were born on 1988. So there was still like the mood was still like a shift. People were still Portugal was really underdeveloped, so it was boring. I'd say.
Miguel was born like in the south of Portugal, and he's like
Okay.
Yeah, in a small town.
in a small town, so nothing happens there.
Nothing.
I was born in Lisbon, so it was a little bit different. More stuff to do, more events,
Yeah,
more people.
yeah. Like where I was born, there's not even like investment culture and stuff like that. It's just,
It's a part of Portugal just for tourists.
yeah.
It's Algarve.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. I've been there.
Yeah.
It's a very beautiful place.
It's cool. It's cool. I don't want anyone to be mad at me.
Okay, so very boring until you were 12. Then, okay, internet comes to Portugal. You know, computers start becoming more and more. Was it like
Yeah.
just love at first sight? Was it just kind of like very obvious that you wanted to play with computers and the internet?
Yeah, I love video games. I love Mirk. Do you know Mirk?
Milk?
IRC.
Oh yeah, of
Uh,
course.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was crazy when it came out. It was
crazy,
absolutely awesome. We were talking with people. Yeah.
all over the world. Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
Those chat rooms were crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, video games. Video games were, to me personally, it was like my whole childhood. I spent the whole time. And I'm kind of like a creative person, so I kind of like I took arts, the art course on high school. So it's like this is what happens when a creative person likes to play video games, I think.
Hey, buddy, a lot of us are creative and like to play video games. None of us have avatars without arms and legs, okay?
We have a lot of arms, man.
Yeah. Look at this.
That's true. I forgot. You have a lot of arms. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Yeah, we don't have legs. We have arms.
Okay, sorry. My mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to offend your arms.
You kind of.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So very cool. So you were creative from like the beginning, like from a young age, Miguel. Were you also like this, Pimpao? Like you also kind of were into creative stuff and video games as well?
Yeah, kind of the same. Not so much video games as Miguel, but I played a lot also. Yeah,
How did-
in the art.
Art
I went
from a young age.
to the art course also.
Yeah.
Our history is kind of similar. You'll find out.
Yeah. Just I think that the difference is that Pimpao chose to go to architecture, and to me it was kind of like my family said that if you want to be an artist, you have to be an architect.
Interesting. Okay, and leading up to architectural school was like so. Okay, so actually, I'll ask Pimpao first. Why did you want to go to architecture? Like, what was the reason that you wanted to study architecture?
Because I really enjoyed to create spaces. Like when I was a kid, I really enjoyed like to to grab some pillows or some stones and create like some spaces to be inside. And architecture seems like perfect for that.
Interesting.
Yeah, creating space to people be inside.
Yeah, no, for
Before
sure.
the
for sure.
degree.
Yeah, before the degree. Yeah, within the degree, I use like cardboard.
Okay, and Miguel, for you, was it also just kind of like similar? I mean, I guess your family kind of forced you into it. Was you know,
Yeah.
did you have other aspirations and other kind of like things that you wanted to do with your art besides, you know, architecture?
Look, when I went to architecture, what I wanted to be was a rapper.
A rapper?
Yeah. And my father said that if I went to university, he would pay me for the studio hours.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I went. That's why.
Did you
That's how he convinced me.
do you have recordings?
Old school, man. Because like the thing is that then I entered the world of architecture, right, and the culture
visual,
and everything,
yeah.
and I just forgot about the rap. It's just so screw it. I'm going to. I started seeing different things, but my relation with it was harder than Pimpao's because I was forced to go, so I just kind of, how do you say this word, fluked.
Like Pat like just went by with it, just like went through it.
Yeah, I kind of like I was not doing anything, just partying, but
Rapping.
through the like my yeah
Yes.
yeah, but he was doing the course. I just the first years I didn't do anything, but then like suddenly it clicked on me and I began to love it. Yeah.
What was the click? What was the click? Do you remember?
The click was actually going to classes.
Just like being involved in the whole thing, like seeing what's going on.
Yeah, because then like we have project, right? And in project I could use all my creativity in a way that it was cooler than what I was doing
Right.
the art course because
Interesting.
it was a bit more technical, and I started this technical part started to grow on me, and kind of shakily in a way of like not being totally abstract and kind of because you need to have like these technical parts for to be, I believe, right? I don't want to offend anyone, but I believe that you need to have to be an artist today. You really have to have a really
Understanding.
technical background.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely in our world of like computer graphics and real time and interactive, you know, it's super important. I mean, it's getting more and more. It's getting less and less important, I think, with like AI, like we're talking about. But you know, like having a background of understanding is so much more valuable than just like prompting something. You know, like it's one thing to prompt something, but if you know what you're looking for, it's like way more valuable. And to know what you're looking for, you need to understand what it is that you're doing. So it's very interesting. So, okay, so did you guys met in architectural school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best buddies for life. Oh my god.
But Miguel disappeared like in the first year. I don't know.
I disappeared.
Yeah, he disappeared. He went somewhere.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
No, after 2 years of not doing anything, I went to work.
Gotcha.
So the third year I worked. Then I decided, no, I want to be an architect.
Interesting. So it was kind of like this. You have a very interesting relationship with architecture, it seems like. But I guess, you know, okay, so before we get into like how it's obvious the connection between architecture and the work that you do today, right? Because of spaces and the experience of like a place and the way that people interact with a place, you know. But before we get into that, I think that I want to understand how do you guys shift from architecture, which is digital. You do have like CAD systems and you are designing things on a computer, but it's a much more like hands-on physical thing. How did you guys get into this kind of like digital realm of visual arts, you know, VJing, projection mapping, you know, obviously real-time graphics? Was there a catalyst? Was it over time? You know, what was kind of the shift from a very classic architectural background to a very kinky thing like this?
For me, I think I get bored
Hmm.
of architecture because you create like a space and the space is static forever. You have like the flow of the people in the space, but
Interesting.
it's just there. And that's why I started making video mapping because you can create like a story in the building, create like some new life or some adjustments. And like working really in architecture is like really bureaucratic. It's not like a free work. If you get out of the university and you go to the studio make windows and
Right, right,
doors,
right, right. Interesting.
that's what I don't want that. I didn't want that.
Interesting.
Well,
And Miguel,
to me, it was just like people was doing cool stuff, so I just said like, yeah, I want that.
Pimpao does do a lot of cool stuff. I remember the first time
Yeah.
that we met Pimp was at LPM in Rome. I think I've told this story before, I think, on the podcast, but we met at LPM in Rome, and you were like, you were such a crazy dude. You had this like, it was like a projection mapping competition, and you had this like super avant-garde like puppet, like real-time puppet, like, but freaky as fuck, like really weird shit was happening, and that was your projection mapping. You just like had that on the building, and it was like really weird, and it had this like freaky face too. I remember it, but I
That
must
was
say, like,
all in TouchDesigner. Yeah.
yeah, I know that, like, that LPM was when I discovered TouchDesigner. I discovered it from Danny Bega and Alina Anka, Orly. But then when I discovered it through them and I saw that you were using it as well, it was like another kind of like thing on like the I gotta learn this. It was like such a, because they were doing like pretty art and you were doing like crazy, like it was much more like technically impressive what you were doing. I was like, okay, this is freaky, like not my style, but the technicality of like having like this, super real time puppet was so impressive. That was like, oh wow, it like opened my mind of like what's possible. And yeah, I've been following you since then for sure. So I really relate to this kind of idea of like, you kind of get introduced to some sort of art, whether I had film, you guys had architecture, and through like learning about the art form, you learn how to become creative, you learn how to express yourself, and then you find like where it is that you love, right? Like you love visuals, you love projection mapping, you love real time, whatever, generative. For me, like the advent of film is something that always stayed with me because it like taught me how to tell a story, how to make composition, how to like, focus attention. In your architecture, is there things today that you have in your art that is from your architecture days? Projection mapping, obviously, but when you guys approach things, is there stuff from your architectural days that are still infused into your art?
I mean, of course, because like we are what we live, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can never, even if you really want, you can never really just let something go.
Totally.
So if you think about it, like what we do is we always treat it in a really special way. That's why we use the Unreal Engine, because it's like this three-dimensional, real-time spaces that we create with animations, and even if it, at the end, like it's not really spatial, like the way we project it is always spatial.
Mm-hmm.
And even like in our installations that are not visuals, that are like more like robotics, or something like there's always a spatial component, and so yeah, it keeps being here. See.
What about you, Pimp? Anything to add to that?
No. Exactly that.
What do you say? What?
Look, we are together every day, so we like just.
You guys sleep together
some things
too,
I
right?
can't imagine.
The only thing that Pimpao isn't together with you in, Miguel, is with your kid. You know, he doesn't help you with your kid. Does he? Is he a good uncle, or does he not help so much?
My daughter says that Pimpão is a thief.
A thief?
A thief. The other day, I don't remember what it was, but I said like she was saying like we can share with this person, with that person, and then I said, and what about Pimpão? And she said, no, Pimpão is a thief.
Why?
Because she's stealing daddy away. Because he's stealing daddy away. Wow.
No,
that's
it's because I think he steals her things.
Yeah, I'm playing the.
You play with her stuff.
So
So you mentioned your installations. I want to just show.
also.
I want to show a little bit of the stuff that you do. Everybody should check out Error43's website. It's super cool. I got to see a little bit of behind the scenes of this one when I was visiting Portugal. I was watching you guys kind of fix some pneumatic pumps that were pumping in like all this fucking liquid into these things. Yeah, I mean, like, how do you guys, I know this is like a very, very loaded question, but how do you approach kind of like your installations? What's the main driving force behind it?
Well, as I said, like we like the technical part of things, right? So first, most of our installations, like the one you saw, it was like they hired us to do something about this subject, and the subject was the female orgasm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in a way, the thematics was already defined. So what we do is we bring our research to the piece, and our research is about in this case, like our physical research, right? Is about robotics, and I guess that the answer is we are kind of always developing something, and then when the opportunity comes, we adapt it to the thematics, of the client, because that's the best way to found our dreams, right?
Right. No, for sure. You have to work.
Yeah.
And it's like in architecture, you have a client, you have a problem to solve, and then you solve it.
Yeah. And in this case was this representation of the female orgasm, which it was complex, right? Because
what's a female orgasm? I've never even heard of this before. I'm joking.
The female, this place that you went,
No,
right?
I'm
The one
joking.
that the one that.
It's a joke.
Okay.
As if I don't know how do I make a girl come? That's the joke. Okay. Why aren't these links working? What the hell? Okay. Sorry, what were you saying about the thematics, about the connection between them?
The architecture, I guess, like this is like architecture, like you have a client who wants a house, for instance, and then you have to do his house. But if you are like already in this level of these good architects that can do that, they go to you because you have a specific research, then they want you also to adapt your research to their lifestyle, right? And this is kind of how we approach every project, even though it's not a house, it's usually art stuff.
It's very interesting. Was this something that you guys kind of figured out like organically? Was it like something that took time to understand? And also, like, where does the whole love and affection for like mechanical things come from? You know, like robots and, you know, these pumps and pneumatics and mechanical stuff. Where does it come from?
For me, it's like that's why I started video mapping. It's like similar. We want to create stuff that has some life, some kind of existence, not just static stuff.
Yeah, that's why the real time as well, right? Yeah. That's why we love real time so much. It's kind of like interactive pieces, and both in digital and physical world, right?
Interesting. It's like kind of like creating something that's alive. I mean, that is yeah. Kind of like the most fun thing about about generative visuals is that it's alive, right? It's like it's math and it's procedural and it's always changing. So I totally understand that. Do you guys have like any background in robotics besides just kind of like figuring it out as you went along? Was there any like mentors that you guys had to kind of figure out how to do the robotic stuff?
Nope.
No. YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is our mentor.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
I mean, the internet, right? Because we check like these guys in MIT and everything. We dream about it, and then kind of
Figured it
develop
out.
from that.
Yeah.
Super cool. I mean, your robotic stuff is really impressive. I can't get this Galactus one working, but people have to go check it out because it's super cool. Maybe is it on your Instagram? Maybe. Let me see.
The Glaucus one, you mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
The claw.
No, we are redoing lots of stuff. On January, we're going to launch our new website. So
Okay.
some videos we deleted because we want to do it better. And
Gotcha.
Glaucus was one of them.
Gotcha. Here, just show like a little imagery here. Yeah, I mean it's it's like very thought provoking. I know, Miguel.
Yeah.
This is your dream, right? To have one of these arms, I think.
I want to have all my body, even my brain if I could, but then I think that I would not be myself, right? I would have to die to kind of recreate my brain. Yeah. But yeah, that would be my dream. If I could be alive.
You could be alive and a robot.
Yeah, sure.
Hell yeah.
Just like
Hell yeah.
fixing my piece. It's like my relationship with my computer. I'm always like breaking something, fixing.
Totally.
This would be me with my body.
So before we get into like a little bit more of a conversation about the software and kind of like the advent of the different softwares and also the different hardwares, your styles, like, I don't know if it's individual between each of you or if it's both of you together. I know that you guys are much more connected at the hip today, but the kind of aesthetic that you have of this kind of like almost Geiger, like very avant-garde, very like not freaky, but like very like organic, like almost what's the word? I had it before in my head. Like when you show like not grotesque, but like almost grotesque. There's another word for it. I have to think about it, but very sci-fi, very machine. This aesthetic, yeah. Is there any like specific place that it comes from, that it that it's inspired from?
Lots of places. I think that if we're talking about references, there are too many, because that's how our brain works, right? We just kind of feel lots of information inside, and then you kind of shift it on thing, right? So in a way, but if for myself, some things definitely marked me. As I said, The Matrix, because I was 11 years old and was completely crazy. That's definitely a begin. There's some architectural references like LaBelle's Woods. I don't know if you know him.
LaBelle's Woods.
Died, but like he was like drawing spaces. He never built anything, but definitely he also marked me. And I think Pimpao too. I don't want to speak for him.
Yes.
and literature, I think Neuromancer was one of the books that kind of marked me too, because I don't know if you know the book. The book was written by William Gibson, and the guy he kind of like defined cyberspace on his books, The definition that we have of cyberspace was done on these books, and the whole scenario that he describes of this kind of cyberpunk is kind of began the cyberpunk movement by himself, And I think that cyberpunk is a beginning, but we kind of had a more organic vibe to it, no?
Whoa.
I think it's kind of like this because also, like we also get lots of our inspiration in nature and nature systems. So merging all these things together and then creating our own really personal mixer, or product, or however you want to call it.
Yeah.
I think this is the way. This is how we do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very apparent, just by looking at what we just saw right now of like this kind of very particle movement, kind of organic feeling thing mixed with this very, robotic kind of exoskeleton cyberpunk kind of thing. I mean, it is like a very strong connection of, organics and machine. I think it's very interesting. And even just like the textures that you choose for your avatars, like this kind of skin kind of texture, the background is like, it's not like, it's not grotesque. There's another word for it. I can't remember what it is. It's like when you show body parts, fuck, I can't fucking remember. My head is totally empty today. Okay, so but anyway, yeah, I just think it's very you have a very unique style.
You can call it Error43, man.
What?
You can call it Error43.
Error43
Yes,
style. For sure. It definitely is that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's before we get into like your set and you kind of show us a little bit behind the scenes of what's going on, talk to me about like the softwares that you guys use. I'll name just, I know that you guys use a lot of Unreal, a lot of TouchDesigner. There's a lot of mocap in your life with motion capture suits. But please walk us through kind of like the day-to-day with your software, the day-to-day with your hardware, and give us a little bit of a overview.
I think like the main software that you use is Unreal and Houdini.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the two biggest ones. But you use everything. Yeah. Every time we need like to create some stuff, if it's better to do in Blender, you use Blender. If it's better to use in Resolume, you use Resolume. It depends of the task that we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like grabbing like the best part of each software to create what we want.
Yeah, like if we want to design some kind of pieces to be printed,
Yeah.
3D printed, to be rhinoceros, like grasshopper, like all these things. It doesn't matter. Like whatever is available, we will try to find the best tool for the task.
Yesterday I was like learning Vectorworks because I was like to design a stage with lights, so I will learn like the best software to do it.
Yeah. And is it natural for you to learn like new softwares? Is it just that easy for you?
Yeah, nowadays it's kind of easy.
Mm-hmm.
All the software are kind of similar, but with a little bit small tweaks between them. So it's kind of easy to change.
Yeah.
Because we work in so much softwares that it's getting easier.
Yeah, like this. For instance, if you're doing 3D, like there's always geometry, right? So you know what you want to
Right.
do. So then you have to find the command that does it, or the set of commands that do it. But you know what you like. We have like a geometrical view of what you want, and same with programming or whatever. If you already programmed in different languages, or like a person that perfectly knows Python it will be easier for this person to learn C++ than the person that doesn't know programming at all, right?
Totally. Is there any kind of advice that you can give to, people that are kind of wanting to understand these different systems? Maybe a good place to start, maybe a good resource for learning, maybe some techniques that you use for learning new things.
I think that, like the best way is like you have a project or something that you want to do, and then do it with all the software that you need, and try, and not trying to learn like a software from the beginning till the end, but trying to learn the part that you need and use it. Because if you try to learn like only one software, everything of one software, I think it will be impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So you need like to pick some parts of each and then try to merge them.
And to be realistic, if you want to, like, if you really want to go deep on the software level that you actually know the whole software, I don't even know if it's possible. Like, then this software gets outdated, and what can you do, right?
Right. Yeah, I think that's something that we kind of a lot of us forget. Like, that I don't know. I personally love to like be a master at one software, but at the same time, it is very limiting, right? Because then when you want to do something in that software that is not the software is not made for it, then it becomes very backwards. But that's why like I choose the softwares that I feel like are very open ended, like TouchDesigner, like Unreal, where you can do everything. But I think what you just said is such a smart point of like once the software changes, then you have two options: either you're outdated or you have to change with it. And then what if you don't want to change with it, right? What if you want to keep what you're doing? So having your knowledge base be spread out to different areas of softwares is so powerful. And really, like, what's a software? It's just a tool, right? Like, if I only know how to use a hammer, not so great. Like totally. Like you could screw in a screw with a hammer, but not the best thing to do for sure. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like but like TouchDesigner is not a hammer. TouchDesigner is like a multi-tool, or like there are certain softwares that for me are just like I can always kind of talk to them, and they're always going to like give me a response that is going to be useful for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, until they don't.
Until they don't. Yeah, right. Until they don't.
If you try to model some stuff in Unreal or in Touch, you can try to, but
right.
It will be really hard.
Yeah, it won't be fun. That's true.
Or
okay.
Even placement of stuff.
Yeah.
There are
like,
much better software to create like placement.
What do you mean placement?
Like in the other day, I was like creating a tool in Houdini that I can like create some geometries, place some objects, and then import like all that data to Unreal and auto place the objects. So I don't need to place it by hand. Like if you check in the body of in our body, you have like the arms that are coming from some places. Like the main body is a simulation in Houdini, and the places that are the arms are coming from, like some just data that I import from Houdini to Unreal.
Interesting.
It's like placing these arms with the rotation,
right,
with everything by hand will be like
take a long time. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So you're just sending what is the data that comes in? Is it Houdini engine?
No, it's just a CSV.
Just a CSV, and then a blueprint that reads the CSV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I just make the placement, and that's it.
Is Miguel jumping in the background?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so freaky. That's really one of the more freakier things I've seen in a while. Just like, especially with all like the the fingers. Yeah, I love the fingers. Okay, so now we're at our set portion. This is a very special set portion. I'd love to give us a little bit of a rundown. What is the technology behind here? Show us Unreal. Show us kind of the other things that are going on here, and just give us a walkthrough. Show us the magic. Show us how the sausage is made.
This is kind of simple. It's like just like Unreal and Touch running in parallel. We have like probably I think 4 cameras rendering in real time from Unreal, sending via spout to Touch. And in TouchDesigner, we are just mapping the outputs. So we have like some buttons that we can switch between cameras. This is like one screen. This is what we are seeing here. So Miguel is on the left. I'm on the right.
I'm the thing.
Yeah. This is the ambience. And here, we have like a body that we can like you can see the screens here also inside Unreal. This.
Nice.
Yeah. This.
No.
Whoa! What was that? What was that camera?
Yeah.
That was a weird camera. Can we see that
Which
camera
camera?
one more time?
I don't know what they're talking about.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So, would you want to show us a little bit in Unreal what's going on?
Let me. Yeah, this is like this is some objects that are placed here with physics or all skeleton, and this is two players walking around the world. Yeah, it's like a really simple project. Yeah.
And okay, and you're controlling stuff via gamepads, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're using Xbox controllers.
Show us.
Some of us have one controller.
Show us. Show us.
Controllers?
Show us your faces for a second, just so we could see your beautiful faces.
One controller. Second controller. You want to see my face?
Yeah. I thought you were gonna zoom. I thought you were gonna zoom into the screen of the character. That would be really funny. That's your face. So no, but show us a little bit about the facial capture. Give us a little bit of more of a run through of what's going on. You know.
Yeah. Okay. So we have like this is like the software from Unreal Live Link. We have like a phone here. The camera is flipped, so it's kind of hard to do. And an iPad here. And we are like tracking our faces with this. And yeah, you have like here the Stream Deck, so we can control like the cameras. The MIDI controller, when you can adjust some stuff of the message on the scene. And that's it in a microphone.
And so, yeah, Miguel.
Yeah, I think that's it's like we started, like we thought about how we wanted to display ourselves, right, for the world, and we built the world with some pieces that we already had, some new pieces. We've been using some AI image to 3D tools, and then using Houdini and even a bit of Cinema 4D to rig it and bring it to life, and we displayed it in this scenario. We created the scenario like this with all this. That, like, while we were doing this scenario for the podcast, we were also like trying new tools that we wanted, again, like using the project to do the research that we want. This is how we do it.
I love it. Well, I'm very honored that you guys took the time to make something new and unique.
Okay. So like here in TouchDesigner, you have like it's like huge, but the only part that we are using is like this one. So here, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have like all the variables that is controlling like the Metahuman. Everything that we want to change it here, and some stuff for the particles that we are using like before, like to turn it on or off, like this. You see, we are controlling everything. This from touch. Yeah. So this is like standard stuff here, like just the cameras coming in, some crops and some adjustments.
Oh wait, switch back to touch. Switch back to touch.
Sorry. Yeah. So here you have like the cameras coming from Unreal, like Miguel and me. Mixing them, switching if we need. Like I can change like the cameras here by hand.
Yeah.
And like outputting to NDI source that is going to the webcam, and also. Yeah, here you have all the screens and stuff. So this one is coming from Unreal, and this is like the two monitors that we can share right now.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's kind of simple here.
Well,
About Unreal, we can open like a blueprint. You can try to
yeah. I'd love to
let
see.
me.
Can I
What you want to
request?
see? Yeah, yeah.
So the idle animation of the Metahuman, like just like taking it and having it like float or like switching the animations. I
Okay,
always
I will
find that super interesting. But anything you want to show is cool, I think.
show that part is kind of cool to see. So wait, let me. Now I need to find it. Okay, Facebook space.
Yeah, Unreal is a mess with all the to learn. It's kind of learning lots of programs into one, right?
Of course.
Everything you want to do works differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in here, like the face. We have like 6 animations recorded with Live Link, and just like with 2 inputs, X and the Y, we can control like what we want. So we can in here you have like the closed eyes. Here you have like the open mouth, open eyes. This is like animations with like 1 minute or something. So you can and they are looping, so you can be here like forever if you want. And normally we adjust like the play rate of the animation to the audio. So when it's like some drops or some more intense music, the animations go faster.
Interesting.
We show the body.
And that's so it's a blend space that's going from X to like 0 to 1 basically, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
X
to
and
like
Y. That's
X and Y, yeah. And then you can basically just use a MIDI controller or whatever control to go between back and forth. Oh, your mouse is actually doing it. Interesting. Huh.
yeah.
Huh. Is this just a normal blend space in Unreal? Blend shapes in Unreal?
2D blend space. Yeah.
I didn't know you can have like the mouse preview it. That's so cool. I didn't know that.
You press Control.
Yeah.
Control, and then you. Yeah. So you really like can put in which position that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of this was like recorded with a suit. I will show you another thing with a camera from our studio. You see that?
Yeah.
It's like a harness, and
A harness.
It's like an English word.
Yeah. A harness. Yeah. Harness.
All these movements were made by me. We're up there, like floating in the space in the suit.
It was hilarious. Like imagine I was working. I'm on my computer working. I look to my right, and there's people there just doing a bunch of crazy stuff.
That's so crazy. Oh my god.
Yeah, I love those days. I love those freaky days.
Yeah, you come in and Pimpao's in a harness with a motion capture suit.
You kind of notice. You see, like here in the middle, you see the position of the arm.
Yeah, it's holding it. Yeah. So interesting, because like I like this way of doing it because I use a lot of state machines for my animations, but the state machines are like really specific for like logic, but this is like much more simpler for like blending. Do you know what I mean? Like the state machine does blend between animations, but it's like it's very based on like, am I falling? Am I walking through a door? Am I crouching? Like the logic. And here it's like you just can play with a 0 to 1, which is much more akin to like what we do with VJing and stuff like that. I have to get more into this blend space.
Be on the middle of the, if you want like, okay, I want it head down, but suddenly I want like, just like this.
Right. Find the middle.
State machines are cool, but they have a gaming logic.
Yeah, it's very gaming logic. I did manage to figure out how to like control it in the way that I wanted, right? But it's still booleans. It's still like on and off situations.
Yeah.
So, okay, but for the only difference I would say is the blend space is you have to make the blend space, right? You have to make the blend shape. Like you can't. Can you just use two random animations, or do you have to make the
Yeah, yeah.
actual blend? You can.
Like,
You grab,
just drop it.
drop it here,
Oh wow, fuck! I can't
and
believe I
that's it.
missed this. Okay.
And now
So
you
it's
have
really
like this. You see?
it's like the same concept of a it's the same concept of a state machine, just much less controllable, but much more
Yeah.
like easier for us to use procedurally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you have a problem. Imagine that you want like to trigger an animation in a specific point. Here is
uh
kind of hard because the animations are running,
are
just running.
it's running, oh, so it's always
Because you
running
need,
between.
yeah,
I got you, I got you, I got
yeah.
you.
So you need like to create
Interesting.
like animations that
That's
can kind of
looping.
fit here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's more for like an idle state almost, or like maybe a middle state. But if you want to go from like A to B, you would want to make that somehow something else, I guess. And you can blend between in an animation blueprint. I'm sure you can blend between like a blend space and just a normal animation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can show you like in the new version, like these ones were like much easier to see, but like in the new ones, like we are creating like much simpler blend space. You see.
Mm-hmm. Just on
Yeah.
the X.
And then we switch between them because imagine that we want like to on a drop or at the moment we want like to drop the arms down and
Mm-hmm.
suddenly up. Now we can control it like this,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can switch between blend spaces. If I can go to the blueprint,
Blueprint.
like the new one is kind of easy.
It's better.
It's much better. V3, I think.
I think it's B3.
V3X, V3Z, Vorf V4O. I have the same thing.
It's like all the blueprint.
Yeah.
It's just this.
Wow.
So we have like
Interesting.
the blend spaces, and we are just like blending them by an integer.
Ah, interesting. But wait, but when you go from one to the other, isn't there a jump
Now you can control here like the speed blend time
between
and the
each blend pose?
yeah, exactly like
Ah,
in the touch we have like a variable somewhere like here percentage blend time. So you can pick like in seconds how much time you
right.
want
Between
between
each blend pose, and
that.
then once it's already in the blend pose, it's just playing in a loop
Yeah,
wherever it is in the
yeah,
shape.
exactly.
Ah, I love
Yeah.
this. And then so then you can basically use like one of the blend spaces to be like an A to B. Like you could go like from idle, then switch to a blend space that's like an animation from 0 to 1, and then go back to like idle. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly.
Super cool.
I can try to open like
The main blueprint.
the main blueprint. It's medium. This is two, B3. This is everything that controls.
That's the blueprint.
Yeah. So we have our kind of way of working is like we create like a multiple events.
Hmm.
We have like a main of the event graph, and then we try to split it for more events. So like this
Smart.
one don't get like really heavy. So this is like the main, and you have everything set like so. The OSC is going inside on this part on the blueprint,
Hmm.
and all the stuff that we are making is like somewhere.
Inside.
Like
Interesting.
yeah, let me check. Like this one, like for some stuff like the position of the particles,
Hmm.
we need the position of the bone. So we create like this kind of calculation to get the position of the bones, and then we just throw it to wherever we need.
Hmm.
I was trying to find like I think it's here. Yeah, exactly. Like the part of the blueprint that's is controlling like the animation blueprint, it's like just this.
Interesting.
So we're controlling like the play rate of the animation,
Uh-huh.
the blend space, that part that I was showing,
Hmm.
and like the X and the Y's of the blend spaces. that we use.
So you're
And
sending
this-
it to the animation blueprint as a variable.
Yeah. So we are getting like from the body getting the animation instance, creating like a variable, and then I can just throw like the values because I have all the variables here.
Inputs. Yeah.
So I just need to throw it, and that's it.
Lovely.
It took a long time to get it this simple, you know.
Of
Yeah.
course. That's but doesn't it feel great when you find like a simple solution for something and you're like, oh, now I have to spend 3 days converting everything to this simple solution.
I will show you like the version 2.
I like those
Yeah.
moments because you can just brain dead doing something, right?
You could just what?
You can just be brain dead doing something. You know that you
Totally.
have to now change
You know what
everything
to
to
do.
this format, and now you just
Yeah.
brain dead
Burr,
in this thing.
For sure. For sure. Unreal Free. Oh, crashed.
Yeah, it crashed.
I close it first.
Yeah, but open it without playing.
Yeah. That's what I'll do. Now.
Wow, what do we have on your desktop? Let's see. Where's the porn?
It's here.
It stayed in 2001.
This is my part.
Oh my god. Please tell. Oh wow, that's attractive.
You like it?
So is this that looks like the 3D model? Is that literally that's what you guys used for the what's it called, for the 3D, for the 2D to 3D, for the texture to 3D?
2D to 3D using AI. Like, it's just like the world is giving these tools to us, right?
Yeah.
And you can even like make a draw and use this triple 3D to turn this draw into a 3D, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, I find it amazing, right? Because before you had to do the draw or the concept or whatever, and then you take a long time to do the whole mesh.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just you import it to the tool and wait a bit, and it's there. And then you have to clean it, give it a bit of care.
Yeah.
But still, you already have the frame in which you're going to work.
Right.
It speeds up the process a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, huh? Like how fast and smooth that is.
Yeah. So this was like the first image that we created with Confi, using like the Flux model.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need like a screen in the scene that we can like. If it's working, not working. No, it's changing yours. Okay, this one. Yeah, like a screen that we can show like stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was like creating like this image, putting it in, like in. I can show you like in the website. Actually.
Yeah, I'd love to see.
Yeah.
Comfy UI is one of those things that like I really, it's so great. It's so great, but it's intense, you know. Like it's hard to learn. I've been trying like every once in a while I find like an interesting technique, but it's like it's hard to learn it.
Yeah. So here is the model that was created by that image.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting.
So it's just like uploading the image here. You just upload it, and these are all models that we created.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the problem here is the material.
Mm.
Okay. So basically, like the workflow here was like going to Houdini, change like this texture that the website sends us, like to a color map of the vertex,
Mm-hmm.
and then like in Substance,
Painting it.
paint it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with maps. This probably will take too long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Substance takes a long time to load.
Yeah, it's also very heavy.
Yeah, but like Substance is another software that we just low now a little bit, but it's the perfect software to paint.
Oh, I love
There's no
Substance. It's great.
yeah.
I just wish it wasn't owned
But
by Houdini. That's the only thing that sucks about it. By Adobe. By Adobe. I mean by Adobe. What were you saying, Miguel?
So here is like the I open it.
Nice.
And this is like we are just using like the maps of the
From the AI.
yeah. So we grab the maps from texture and then apply new textures based on color.
Mm-hmm.
So the texture of the triple that is here,
Mm-hmm.
like
Goes through.
the orange part is like with a different texture. Like this black part have this texture.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, really, in the model, it didn't change anything. Like the pure model.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for this one specific.
Yeah, for this one. Like the other ones in the scene.
Miguel, what were you saying about Substance that you wish it was something?
Like, in a way, I wish it was lighter.
Yeah, it's very heavy. It is very
I'm
heavy.
always waiting for something. It's boring.
Especially, by the way, especially when like the way that I use it, I'll do like one model and I'll have 6 or 7 different folders with different materials. Even if those 6 or 7 folders are off, then it takes forever to change things. It's so annoying. There's another software. It's free. It's called
And so Pixel.
not Quixel. No, Quixel Mixer's no. Quixel Mixer's not anywhere close to as good as Substance.
It's really bad.
It's bad. Yeah, no. There's another one called Instant. Let me find it because it's a really good one. Instamat. That's what it's called. Instamat. Yeah. It's cool. It's the guys who make. It's a company who makes the Instalod and Abstract is what the company's called. Abstract. I mean, look, where Substance Painter is super powerful is with all the baking. Like all the baking, and once you bake something, then you can like start doing things procedurally without having to paint. That's where I think it shines, at least for me. Like Quixel Mixer just doesn't have that ability. You know, you can mix things in Quixel Mixer, and it's like kind of like Photoshop. But if you can't make like curvature maps and line maps and things, then all the procedural stuff is just like you can't do it. So yeah, I don't know. It's
Quixel Mixer is still not there. Maybe it will arrive there someday.
Maybe. I doubt it. But
now with this fast change, they should be working on all these tools, right?
I don't know. I think it's the opposite. I think once they start making money and doing other things, and they kind of throw things aside. I think it's mostly about making money for Epic now. I don't think they really want to do anything else. I don't think they're going to invest a lot.
I can see what you're saying, but I'm still hoping that it's not like that.
You're positive. I like that. Okay, so first of all, amazing overview. Thank you guys for being so open with showing your techniques and workflows. I would love to see more. What the fuck is this, dude? What the fuck is this? What is it? It's a shark?
The shark.
Yeah, actually the base, the prompt was a whale.
A whale?
Orca whale.
Orca whale?
Orca whale.
An orca whale that's exploded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you try to go there?
Is it?
To go where?
Yeah, to the shark and
yeah. Trying.
Go. And jump. But you need to the physics.
Okay, I get it. All right.
Oh, cool. Nice. Is it
so this one will break.
It's a soft body.
It's
fake
a skeletal mesh. We're using the physics of the skeletal mesh.
Okay. Yeah, but it just bends in a really nice way.
These meshes have that.
Yeah.
So they come from we create the image, then go to triple, create the 3D, adjust the 3D what we need,
Yeah.
create the skeleton.
And are you doing the skeleton procedurally in Houdini? Or by hand?
I wouldn't say procedurally, but yeah, it's like we have to draw it. No, and it takes a while.
Yeah, I mean, there's
But
got to be a lot of bones in there if it's moving like that.
Yeah, lots of fun. But it's I think it's still the best tool that we've used so far to rig.
For rigging,
It's
yeah.
Houdini skeleton,
The Kini effect.
yeah.
Kini effects, yeah. There's a lot of automation tools now in Houdini that allow you to do things. I mean, I think it would probably be hard with like these type of meshes because they're so weird, but there is a lot of automation stuff.
Yeah, the auto skeleton that they have is not working so well.
No?
Because he created like he'll create a skeleton in the mesh, but like the order of the bones is not fine for us to use.
How long?
Maybe that's a logic to it that we still don't get, like in terms of how to do the mesh, so you can understand. So the programming can understand what to do, but we did not figure it out yet.
How
And also,
long,
we are using specific mesh.
excuse me, how long does it take to rig something like this with all these limbs? Excuse me, with all these limbs.
I would say maybe 2 to 4 hours.
Okay, that's not so bad.
Depends on the mood, Yeah.
It's still a lot.
Yeah.
Depends on the mood, yeah.
Sometimes you wake up and you are not like really energetic, so
For
these
sure.
days would be 4 hours.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a mesh that I like it a lot because this specific mesh, because we did not change it at all. Like this octopus, we did,
This one.
yeah, this one. We did crazy work to solve every mistake that the 3D did from the image, But this one just came out like this, and it surprised me a lot.
But you rigged it as well. You had to rig this. Wow, you had to rig this by
And then
hand.
we rigged it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like, it's impressive how this tool, like having just the front part, it did the rest.
Right. They made it volume 3D.
Yeah, made a volume. Like it just said it was a 2D image of
What is
of a front view.
What does the image look like? Do you have it?
Not in this computer.
Not in this computer.
Oh, no worries. I mean, I'm sure, like you said, it's just like the frontal view of it.
Yeah.
So
It's
when you're rigging something like this, how do you like? Is it just two rigs? I see. It's like one. There's like a connection between the two. There's that red line. How do you even rig something like this? What the fuck?
with lots of patience.
and then we invent a lot of orders.
Yeah.
Like
This
the
one-
weight.
this
You need to be creative.
The weight painting must be really difficult.
Yeah, that's auto in the Houdini.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. So once you put the bones, once you lay the bones, and it just does sections.
That's actually the reason why I say that rigging in Houdini is probably the best I've seen so far because the weight come
Auto weights.
really, really accurate. Sometimes you have to kind of change a bit something, but mostly you don't have to do anything. It's
Yeah,
just
but that's like the
Because
most time consuming for sure.
exactly. Yeah. Like
Whoa.
screw the weights. I hate to paint those.
Oh my god. Oh my god. It's so freaky. Oh man.
Yeah.
So the only thing that this one's missing is like a face with like a facial capture.
Yeah, it doesn't have.
What-
To do that on this one, first we would have to make a face, and we can. But yeah, it would take a while. I think. Either we were using already the Metahuman face and putting it there, or
Changing it a little bit. There's some interesting ways to manipulate the metahuman face to make it look less human. Like a replicant. Have you seen replicant?
Don't think I did.
It's like
Yeah.
a character creator app, like kind of character creator, but it's specific around like Unreal and Metahuman, and like taking the same rigs and things that work with Metahuman, and then just like making different, like a lizard person, or whatever, like a cartoon character, things like that. And they have a lot of tools. I've never used it, but I've seen it being used a bunch, and it seems pretty advanced in terms of what it can do.
Yeah.
Just,
But in Tipo, if your image is humanoid, then you can also rig it. That's what we're going to show you.
It
yeah.
auto
I
rigs.
think yeah. This is like the image that
No.
we import, and then this is the rig.
No way. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
This
crazy.
triple is getting.
Yeah. You
So,
cannot do it
as-
if it's not a humanoid.
Yeah, and
Just
to
like
see like the legs and
hands
the
and
arms.
legs.
And,
Wow,
Yeah.
look at that. That's
See?
crazy. I mean, the hair is messed
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
but still, I mean, it's like you're like 75% there. And it's so crazy how much
Yeah.
time that's saving you. What kind of prompt are you guys prompting here? What the fuck?
I don't remember the prompt for this one, but probably something related with old woman and robot for sure,
Old woman robot.
and some
Yeah.
foot fingers. I don't
Slit
know.
fingers.
Some tips are like don't use hairs, and
crazy.
cables are also not ideal,
Yeah.
But the rest is just fine.
And this is just one image. You're just giving it one image, huh?
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
one. Yeah.
just one.
Crazy. It's
Yeah.
really impressive. Had to try out this triple place.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
But you see, like the materials are like kind
Yeah,
of
cheap looking. But I mean,
blurry,
but that's like easy. Like that's like once you have a mesh and you have a base material, you just bump up the metallic, even take it into like topaz and like up resolution, the material. Like, bump the normals, add some decals, like whatever. It's once you're there, you're like so much closer to being there.
even this cable. Look at this.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's crazy.
It's really
And
perfect
they
besides the
invented it
hair.
because-
Yeah.
But even the face, I mean, it's so it's
Yeah.
very strange. Very, very
Yeah.
strange. Hell yeah, dude. This is so cool.
Yeah, that's how we are. Because like one thing that right now to us is not ideal in this AI generated things is that it's 2D, and we really like to work with 3D. So this is a way to bring all these AI things that we are testing to the world,
For sure.
to
for sure,
the
for sure.
unreal world.
It's also it's kind of like the same concept of like how it's helping you code, right? Like it's not writing a whole code for you, but it's giving you like the basics, and it's helping you take what is in your brain into somewhere. So it's not like making the whole thing for you, but it's giving you the baseline, and it's helping you take the thing that's in your brain and put it into like something that you can work with. I really like I think that's where AI shines, is like when you can fast iteration,
Yeah, and that's what you said, is like the part that you suddenly you have new tools, and it's not like you are going to become obsolete. It's like you have to learn these new tools and use them and put your human part on it,
Yeah, for sure.
instead of just like okay, now I can do anything. This you have to. We are thinking like, okay, so this is out now, so what can we do with it?
Right.
And put our things there and work it. I mean, I think it's going to still take a while until we are obsolete, because we have
Hopefully
a
never.
lot of work.
Hopefully never. We'll see.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to know. Thank you guys so much for sharing. Like I said before, thanks you so much for sharing your workflows and your super intricate and interesting art. it's extremely unique. I don't think many people are doing anything like this. So thank you for sharing it. Oh, this is cool. The light following the arms following the light. I love that. That's super cool. That's really cool. I love that. But yeah, I mean, thank you guys for sharing it. We'll jump back and forth, obviously. I do want to get into some like kind of more esoteric conversation. We kind of mentioned it before, like the power of AI and how it might make us obsolete. What are your guys' thoughts on like the intersection of machine and nature, and like kind of the promise of AGI and biological mechanics?
I I hope it comes fast. I mean, pretty much the way we think about humans, for instance, we are inevitably a part of nature, even though we constantly say that we constantly we think that we're not, or we thought that we were not, but we are part of nature. So it's like, if you understand this like that, I think that you can also understand that humans are kind of like machines. You have like your brain, which is your processor, and then you have the body, but the body is like a bunch of bricks and all these things.
Yeah.
So why not upgrade it? I think it makes sense, since if you can, you should.
Interesting.
I know that lots of people have lots of ethical questions about what we're talking right
What
now.
what do you say to those ethical questions?
I mean, based on culture and history and the meanings we gave to things, it's hard to forget those and just assume that, okay, so we are all machines. We are not
right.
some kind of magical thing. But apart from that, and without disrespect, of course, if you think about how we create machines, like, and the thing that we said before, that our minds work, that we put a bunch of things inside, and then with these references we create something. We can only create machines because we observed ourselves, right? We observed nature,
right?
And machines are kind of like right now our imperfect creation. Like we kind of like create, like, not creating, like changing nature to human will more and more with times, right? And so when you create a robot, and it's funny because when I think about robots, I don't think about humanoid robots, but somehow when people are doing like all these humanoid robots to work in factories and everything, I think Tesla now is a famous one. And if you see this, like, what I think when I see that robot is like, why does it need to have a head?
Right.
Why does it need to have, like, it should have a more like efficient design to do the tasks that you need to do. It could be based on a spider, maybe with lots of legs, and then you could do multiple tasks. Why does he have like 2 arms? It makes no sense. You can put 4 arms on this thing.
Well, right? I mean, it's the reason is because they want people to not be scared of it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I find boring. No,
it's stupid. People, no, I agree with you, but I mean,
people are scared of
pretty retarded.
Scared of everything. Yeah, like every time, like when we are doing our visuals, for instance, lots of people get scared. and I cannot understand why, because for me it's just like sometimes even funny stuff. And people get scared. I think we grew apart from nature in a way, because nature is actually what's scary.
It's true.
Like when we were like living in tribes and hunting, gathering, right? This moment, this moment in time, this moment was scary.
Yeah.
This was really scary because if you did not run fast enough, you'd be hunted by a bigger animal,
Yeah,
right?
for sure, for sure.
Or, or if you could not hunt what you needed, you would die of hunger.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and nowadays we built such a strong bubble, such a hard bubble that we forget that we actually live in a really scary world, and we find that really random things are scary, and I cannot understand that. Why are we so oblivious of where we came from?
Yeah, I think that there's lots of reasons for that. Religion probably is the main one of it. Society being afraid of death, right? Like death is like such a fearful thing when really death is, a beginning. Death is the unknown. Like there's nothing. Obviously, it's sad when somebody dies, and you should feel emotion, But in reality, like on just in a very baseline thing, death is a beautiful thing, because that person is now not connected to their body, and now they're in a completely different multi-dimension. Even if you believe that death is the end and it's all black, that's still something different, so I think that you really hit the nail on the head. Like, why is society, why we as a culture so afraid of these things? Also, I mean, if you think about it, Miguel, like your favorite movie being The Matrix, if our future is The Matrix, then we should be a little bit afraid of what's going on, no?
Yeah, I think so, especially because I think we should be afraid not of the tool. We should not be afraid of the tool. We should be
But of
afraid
ourselves,
of
maybe.
who is controlling the tool, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Which is us.
totally, totally.
So
That's always the
the only thing we really
case.
should be.
It's always
Yeah,
the case. I mean,
exactly.
nuclear, right? Like nuclear weapons, like the advent of nuclear in general, like understanding the nuclear, right? Like blowing up an atom, like that has so many implications. Now we have nuclear power, but also now we have nuclear bombs. Like it would have been great if we had nuclear power without nuclear bombs, right? Like,
Exactly.
fission is being worked on right now. Like a fission reactor is going to be great, but if they use fission to make a weapon that can dissolve you into particles, not so great. So
No.
I think that it really, like you said, it's really like we have almost. I like what you said originally of like that it's almost our responsibility to embrace the tools early on so that we can guide them into like a good place. I like that as
Yeah.
as like a thought process, but at the same time, we know that we're so we have no control over like the rich people and powers to be, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it's like we're kind of just beholden to them, which is a little bit of I hope things change in the worldview of like that these companies and these corporations have so much control and they're not accountable for anything. I feel like as time goes on, they should become more and more accountable for things. I don't know if you've been watching like Anthropic, who make Claude. Like they're like super different than OpenAI, who make ChatGPT, because they're like their whole ethos and their whole understanding is like on safety and like putting like guardrails on the AI, not to make the AI worse, but to make it safe. And like if you look at the difference between like Claude's new Sonnet 3.5 versus like ChatGPT 4.0, the Sonnet Clouds is like miles ahead. It's so much better, and it's like because like the whole conversation or argument with OpenAI was like, well, if we put guardrails and if we put restrictions and if we have laws, then we're not going to be as good, right? It's not going to be as good. But then this other company who's actually doing both is like, no, you're wrong. Like, look, we're doing better than you, and we have all these guardrails. So it's like these companies and these fucking corporations, they lie, and they manipulate and they propagandize, and it's tough to know like really what the actual thing is. Um,
Yeah, that's kind of like I like say like nowadays with AI and all this misinformation, using all the platforms that we have, like these social media platforms and everything. With all this information, you kind of like you can understand that the propaganda, right? Like how easy it is to manipulate um, the thoughts of people, because as consumers, you're just seeing things and you're going to believe it. And some people are a bit more oblivious of this world, and then they're just going to blindly believe on it. But believe it. But if you think about it, it happened all the time.
Yeah.
In all times, like there was always this misinformation. Always,
100%.
like when we only had TV,
Yeah.
like whatever they were feeding us on TV,
It was even worse.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was even
I mean,
worse.
you know, think about like the kings and queens that controlled the first printing presses, right? They're like the only ones that could give out pieces of paper, you know? Yeah, no, you're totally right. I just feel like
even history.
Even what?
History.
Yeah. I think even history is like, you know, history is written by the winners, right? That's like always like a thing.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, and maybe this is because that we're living through it now, but like the amount of access that we have does let us understand what is misinformation and what is real. But at the same time, because there's so much information, it's like noise, you know, there's so much noise. How do you get like some peace? You know, you either shut down from everything or you just have noise. And if you shut down from everything, then it's a problem because, you know, you're in a position where they can, you know, it's like, you know, I can go and live in the woods and not be affected by society. But if society blows themselves up, that's going to affect me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely know.
Yeah. And I do that. I live in the woods. I live in the woods. I live purposefully far enough away from Los Angeles that if a nuclear bomb drops in Los Angeles, I have enough time to keep on driving south. So, you know, I thought about that already.
To Mexico.
To Mexico, yeah.
Well, at least you have mezcal there.
For sure.
Well, you know, like it's true. You cannot run away from society, because humans, like, we live in society. Let's face it. We need a group of people. We cannot survive by ourselves unless you are so rich that you actually can. You know? But
yeah, but your money's not going to help you when there's a nuclear war. It's not, your money's going to be worthless.
No, not but this is like an extreme scenario. I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But you can be as rich that you buy a bunch of machines and
right,
kind of
right,
be by yourself.
Right,
but
right.
Still, your mind is going to freak out, because you really need this social structure. You know, we need it. We need this energy.
Yeah.
And but I think that one thing that we can do is discipline ourselves. And I think that's what I think that society nowadays is lacking. We are like using all of these things, and I'm not talking about like the fun things like programs and stuff. I'm talking about social media and all these things. We use it all, but we don't learn discipline. We are just like
slaves or sheep or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. We are just, by discipline, I mean you choose what you consume and the platforms, and you are conscious about like what does it mean when you use platforms, and you kind of like use it for like to chill. Then you're going to chill a bit on it. But if you spend like 4 hours on a TikTok scroll, like, I don't know, I think you're lacking discipline.
Yeah, it's going to be bad for your consciousness and your brain, right? It's going to affect it for sure.
Because your brain is in a kind of screensaver mood, you know, like you just like.
What was the last time you were bored? You know what I mean? Like, I haven't been bored in years.
Yeah.
It's like I don't. even if like the scrolling is boring, my brain is not making the connection that I'm bored because I'm doing something. You know, it's such a crazy thing. Like, and I remember being bored. I remember being at home, being bored, and then being like, okay, what am I gonna do? And like picking up a book, playing on my computer, figuring something out, going outside. You know, and like now it's like when I'm bored, it's just like, oh, okay, I have my phone. I'll fill in the time. Um,
See,
uh,
see that's what I mean when I talk about discipline.
yeah.
So like when I'm bored, I let myself be bored. I decided not like sometimes. Of course, I go to Reddit and I scroll for like 5 minutes or so or something like that.
What happened to
But
your face? Yeah, it's very boring. Oh my god.
because like some things that I know how to do, I learned them because I was bored
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
back in the days in Portugal, in a small town in Portugal, you know. Like for instance, I know how to draw because I was bored. I was bored and I had nothing to do, so I was drawing some things that I had in my mind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that nowadays, because we don't have discipline, like for me, it was not a case of having discipline. I had no other chance, right?
Right.
I had,
No other choice.
I had no chance but to be bored. The moment requested that I was bored.
Yeah.
But I think that today, since we can not be bored, right? Never. I think we have to discipline ourselves to be bored. For instance, I even can give you an example. If I'm in a coffee alone by myself,
You don't pick up your phone.
I don't pick up my phone. I check the environment around. I see what's happening, even though what's happening is
Everybody's on their
way
phone.
less. No, like way less fascinating than what I have the phone, because before I have the internet and I can check whatever, right? All the roles
Gotcha.
that I like and everything that I. But still, like I take the time, and sometimes I'm surprised, and why not? But not many times, I have to say, because that's the whole point. I'm bored, right? But still, I take my time to be there, and also to rest from screens. So if I'm not working or playing video games, or of course watching some series or something like that, but I'm not I'm not looking at screens, and the phone is my least favorite tool of all these technological tools. I barely use my phone.
Lucky. Pimp, you're very quiet throughout this whole conversation. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm chilling in my world. Just chilling here. Yeah.
Any thoughts on being
my
bored? Any thoughts on being
No,
bored?
I'm fine.
You're fine.
I'm here with my creator.
Miguel, as you were talking, I just remembered when we met at Boom, and I have this like image of you like with this huge smile on your face, like a little kid, like a little boy, and you're like, it was like the first time that you put the Metahuman on the screen and it was working, and like, you know, and Pimpao was like putting all these things, and you're just like in the back, like huge smile. It was it was such a cute moment. I remember it so well. It's like in my mind forever, like the excitement and proud. You were very proud of your creation.
Yeah,
I wish I could see your face now.
He's always with a smile in his face. So
That's
Yeah.
true.
that's like a normal thing.
That's true.
it's true.
That's true.
But I do love to every time we go to a show and when we're doing our thing, I always love to see it and to be there, like
course.
controlling it.
Of course.
It's I know what I feel. I feel that I'm playing a video game live, and people are there and they are okay with it. You know, like at a party where everybody is in a really specific mental state, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's there okay with it, and I feel some kind of freedom that I can just be myself, and people are cool, and that's calling me a nerd or sending me away. You know?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's it's the ultimate like self actualization or self realization of like performing, right? And it's also, I have this conversation a lot with VJs, like in general, like you're performing, you're not on stage, so you're not being looked at, so your ego isn't being triggered of like, look at me, I'm doing this, or what am I doing? You're being worried, like, you're not being authentic. When you're in the shadows, like we are as VJs, you have an opportunity to be super authentic without being nervous or without having your ego inflated, because you're just a guy or a girl or whatever, a robot, and you're just kind of like chilling and doing your thing while your self-actualization, like your art, is being projected and people are being affected by it. So I think it's a very ultimate kind of thing that not a lot of people that perform get to experience. Dancers are being looked at, musicians are being looked at, DJs for sure. Even, have you ever heard of the blind orchestra? It's like the orchestra isn't blind, but the orchestra is behind a wall, and the idea is that, like, sometimes, like, you ever see musicians when they play, they go like, they make like crazy weird faces sometimes, and like there's the idea that sometimes it's like, some musicians like don't care what they look like, but a lot of times it's very difficult to be like, I look weird right now, so maybe they're not going to express themselves. So like the blind orchestra is like the idea of like, just do whatever makes you play and get in the flow. So I just love that we are very lucky with our art form and our performance form that we can have that, ability to do that. I mean, tell us a little bit about playing with Datagramma. Shout out to the Datagramma team. You guys are kind of like part of that collective as well in some way. And Pimpao, tell us about coming to the States and playing at the Tipper events.
It was cool. It was like a different way of organizing events in the States. I enjoyed it. Was really cool. The organization was amazing. And the equipment that they have there is all the time is amazing. Yeah, it's different from Portugal. When you try to create like a event here in Portugal, to get like good equipment or expensive equipment is really hard. Like in States, it seems like really easy. And yeah, that's it. And working with Datagram is really cool. Joe is like a maestro.
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 Yeah, and they can create like a really cool environment, mixing content and with the content that he creates. It's really cool. It's like a different experience. Not just like throwing just visuals to a screen. It's like all the show is an experience.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's please tell me more.
It's fine.
I guess I should be happy that you answered the question at all. Okay, for sure. I mean, I also love playing with Datagramma and Joao. Sometimes it's very hectic and a little bit disorganized, but once you get in it, there's like a very, very distinct feeling of like performing all together and like having that kind of like maestro, like you said, directing everything and kind of pushing everything out and in. So I really like to do that as well. What about okay, I have a question here, just like as it is, and it's kind of, we're jumping all over the place, I'm sorry, but I'm just kind of trying to think about where to go. But are machines alive? Like, and let me prove that. Like, I give all my computers a name, all my computers, and I'm giving it a little. I'm petting my computer because it's a good boy, good girl, good computer. Do you? And I believe it's alive. When it's on, it's alive. It's running. It's doing all this computation. It's thinking. What do you guys think about that?
I think it depends on what is the definition of being alive, right?
Yeah.
If you mean like something having energy to perform tasks, then yes, it's definitely alive. But if you're thinking about some kind of conscious, right?
Yeah.
Then it's harder to answer, because for instance, we say that bees are alive, but bees have a really specific programming and they do really specific tasks, right? So in terms of maybe the tasks that they do with the programming that they have, even though they are not programmed by humans, of course, they are programmed by their own genetics, but it's like, but what they do is, is less complex than a computer. A computer performs like really complex tasks if you think about it. So
Yeah,
you could say that it is alive. I think for me, yes. As long as something has energy and uses this energy to perform some tasks, I think it's alive. Yeah. But,
fair enough.
Yeah, that's a really abstract one. No?
It's a very abstract one. Yeah. I was kind of joking about what I was saying, but yeah, I agree with you. I think that as long as it's performing a task, it's like also like the definition of alive is very important here. And I honestly think that the definition like changes based on the context, right? Like, is a rock alive? I mean, a rock is alive, but it's just very, 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 very slow, right? Like, it you know what I mean? Like, you ever look at like a boulder and it's like stuck between two other rocks? In theory, that boulder is falling the whole time. It's just falling really, really slowly over like 100,000 years, like, so technically it is doing some sort of task and moving. But then you think about like, okay, but the rock, if you look at it under the microscope, it's made of minerals. The minerals have atoms. The atoms are moving and they're changing and they're, going all over the place. So I think it does kind of, but then you can think about the computer. The computer is made from metal and silicone. Those are all minerals and those all are rocks, right? So technically it is alive, but yeah, the context I think matters. I was kind of alluding to like the idea of like, when you build an installation with the machine, do you look at it, because you kind of mentioned that you look at it as like a creation, right? That you look at it as like something that you made and it's now, you use the word alive. So I was just kind of like thinking about like the definition and kind of like, okay, you have your installation. That's the really cool, like tentacle kind of like, pneumatic tentacle monster thing. And then you have like the Orgasmo. That's like all these kind of like, liquid tubes, right? Would you consider them both to be alive in the same way? Or does one have like more of a personality? Does that factor into it?
I think that the personality is given by the structure of it, like the task that it has to do. Like the tentacles, like they have a specific movement, so this movement gives it personality, and also like visually, right? Like it's the way it looks to you, like it's of course also defines its personality. So I think the task that they were made to do is what gives them their differences. And also, like, you're talking about two different things, because the tentacles is our personal research, what we are doing when imagine a gallery asks us for an installation, we do something regarding like the tentacles. The orgasm thing, it was someone hired us to do this, so we kind of used our knowledge to create something for someone else, and of course it's going to be a different approach, So in a way, if I like forgetting what I said before, right? If I had to say which is alive, I would say that the tentacles are alive and the orgasm was not alive. Only because I feel that the orgasm was kind of like a space, you could see the flow of the liquid, but the technology behind it was not what I would call alive. Even though, it doesn't make sense what I'm saying, but this is just
I think it does. I think it does. I think it's a good definition as well. Like, one is kind of like more your creation, and one is more maybe a reflection of somebody else, or like you're the not the arbiter, but you're the it's a modality. Like it's through you, not a modality.
Yeah.
What's the fucking word? Like you're the
And there's a big difference between both. Like the orgasm one is like a pre-programmed stuff. Like it's like 3 minutes and that's it.
right.
The tentacles are
Is procedural.
interactive. The people interact with them. Like
Yeah.
Okay, there
Like-
you go. That's a really easy distinction, right? Like something that's interactive is inherently generative. If it's inherently generative, then it's going to be in somewhat more alive, or at least in some ways more connected to what we would consider alive. I like that. Pimpao, wow. Why don't you talk more? You have such good answers to things.
I'm just here to give some points.
So okay, so shifting gears, and this is also not Pimpao. You're not. You can answer if you want, but Miguel, you have a daughter. I think that pretty close to my son's age, right? I think we kind of became parents around the same time. What's it been like for you? Kind of seeing this little robot, this little machine grow. Being influenced by the world and the consciousness development. Like for me, it's like my son just started to talk. Like very very simply, but he can say a few words. But like the fact that he understands everything is so crazy. Like it's so trippy to get from like this little baby who's just like walking around and doing things to like all of a sudden he like wants things, or he understands things, or he can do tasks. It's like so trippy. How has it been for you?
Well, I did it for science,
Don't tell your wife that.
No, she knows. She knew it before. That's why she's with me.
That's a pretty.
She has to tolerate me, right?
That's a pretty intense science experiment. Takes up all your life.
Yeah, exactly. To me, it's. I think I'm programmed to have really strong feelings about this being. It's written on my genetic code because, as you said, we have fear of life because so we don't kill ourselves immediately when we have conscience, when we gain conscience, right? Otherwise, we would just kill ourselves. That's why we have fear of death, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with when we have a son or a daughter. It's like the continuation of the species. So it's kind of like our genetic code wishing to keep being alive, right? So we pass on and we pass on and we pass on, and we cannot run away from these feelings. So naturally, the feeling is really, really strong. I'm programmed. But the experience so far has been really, really fun. To me, I'm enjoying a lot. And one thing that I did not expect is that it's one of the funniest moments of my day, like when I go home and I just stay with her, like playing and inventing stories and playing with Legos and stuff. I know that I'm programmed and I know all these things. Like I know, I think I know. I don't really know, but at the end, like this moment, I forget everything, and I'm just there and enjoying and seeing all these changes that I talked about and this evolution, and it's really impressive. It's like sometimes I wake up, she's asleep, and I look at her and I think like Jesus, it's like this came out of like we just had intercourse, and now I have this.
Yeah.
Like it's really weird.
What was that? What's
mind-blowing.
that intercourse? What is that?
Like we have intercourse, and then these beings come out of.
Is the
of
intercourse
vagina,
connected to the female orgasm thing you were talking about before? Those things are.
Not necessarily.
Ideally. Yeah. Wow, I never thought about that whole like the programming thing. I love that kind of way of looking at it. It's very it's very you, like just the way that you interface. Like, yeah, you're programmed to find this person funny or find this person cute, but it doesn't stop you from like enjoying that aspect of life, right? Like, it's not like just because you're programmed, it doesn't mean that it's not real or it's not like a special thing, right? I mean, it's kind of the way that we're programmed to love other people, right? Or, you know, excuse me, programmed to like, you know, I don't know, like certain foods or like certain things. You know, in Pimpao's case, programmed to smoke cigarettes and not joking. Not joking. I wanted him to be part of the conversation as well.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty wild ride, you know. I'm happy
I think that people trust my answers.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was super nice. I'm gonna have to freeze frame the image of your faces and put that as the thumbnail.
No. Don't do that.
I wouldn't do
Just delete
that.
that.
I wouldn't do it. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys' time and showing us into your processes. I know that's what was that?
What?
What was that? I know that you guys
Right.
I know you guys are private and you know, like to keep to yourselves, as it were. So I really appreciate you coming in and being vulnerable and taking the time to talk to me, even if it's through avatars.
Thank you, man. It was fun.
Thank you a lot for the invite also.
Yeah, we should do this more often.
We will.
But we don't need a podcast, of course. But yeah.
Wow, what an episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Mantis Smash for the intro and outro music. Thank you to Sophie Holder for the amazing internship helping us with all the episodes. And thank you to the guests for coming on and spending time with us. See you next week.